Dear gossip girlies, story seekers, let's get ready for this week's deep dish. On Coco Confessions with Kate, your anonymous stories come to the surface. We'll laugh, we'll cry, and you will definitely experience some secondhand embarrassment. So grab your cocoa and cozy up. Hi and welcome back to the It's a Girl Thing podcast. You're here with me, Kate, and we're here for another episode of Coco Confessions. I'm super excited today. We've got another 2 entries, and I also have my little support squad again behind the screen, so who knows how chaotic it'll get this week. I have to make my own confession first. It's not hot cocoa in the mug today. Opted for a raspberry milk because I was overheating a little bit, which is funny considering it's winter and I've been freezing my ass off for the last few days. So if you're enjoying the show, don't forget to leave a rating on your favourite streaming platform. It allows other people to come and join us for our confessions or our chats each week, or share it with a friend. But now let's get straight into it. So first we're starting with entry 10. A friend's band was playing a cover set on Halloween. My first thought is, where are we in the world? Because in New Zealand, Halloween's like minimally celebrated, I guess, except for the teenage costume parties, which I must admit, sadly, I've never been to. And their bassist was nowhere to be found by the time they had to play. So I told them I'd fill in. I'm really hoping that you actually can play that instrument. Imagine not being able to play the bass and being like, yes, let's just whip it out. I had never listened to the band they were covering, and I was way too drunk. Never mind, I see where we're going with this one. The fact that you've never we're not thinking books, we're thinking music. The fact that you've never listened to the band they were covering, it's like singing lyrics with no melody, and that messes with my head. The first song starts, and I'm playing all the wrong notes. The whole band is looking at me like, what the? Which prompts the audience to look at me. Like, it was a decent crowd, about maybe 50 people. The things we do with alcohol in our system. And just as I realised that I was making a fool of myself, the bass fell off its strap and hit the floor. I'm really hoping it was in one piece, that we didn't actually break somebody's bass. My question is, if the bassist was nowhere to be found, did you just casually have a bass, or did they travel with their bass already? Or did the bassist just like show up, gap it, and then you're like, yes, I see a bass, let's fill in. I turned the amp off, walked outside, and cried in an alley. Well, I'm a little concerned about why you chose to go and cry in an alley, because being alone in an alley at night, in the dark, a bit creepy and dangerous. I thank you for your confession, because that was actually quite entertaining. I'm glad I haven't done anything stupid like that. But I also have to be honest, I haven't been drunk enough to do anything stupid like that while drunk. But I must admit, I wish I was there to witness this. It's like, I saw a sign at our uni for an air guitar competition. Like, the winner gets like $500 or something crazy. And I'm like, I would actually pay like the $500 just to go and watch this air guitar competition and watch like people of all ages, like grown ass men playing the air guitar like their life depends on it. And that concerns me a little bit. Like, does anybody else agree? Like, why, out of all the hobbies in the world, or all the instruments in the world you could pick, why would you choose an air guitar? And I'm sorry if I'm insulting anybody who enjoys playing a good air guitar, but if you do it as a joke, you're my friend. If you do it as anything else, then we need to have a talk. Let's move on to our second entry, which I'm pretty sure is a nice long one, so this will be interesting. Here we go. This older guy, middle-aged, that's my first red flag, hit on me, 25 female, when I was walking to the station. I agreed on a date another day because he was a decent chat, and my friend said I have a very specific type and should venture out. To me, no matter what, that age gap is just too big for me. Middle age makes me think 40. Is that just me? 40? And if you're considering middle age like 30, I don't know why you wouldn't have just specified that in the confession. So, from the start, he was weird. Well, then why did you agree to a freaking date? Giving me an oddly long hug and smelling me? Let's just say I hope no men are smelling you now, because let's not smell men. No, let's not be smelt by men. But I feel like if that's only the start, I don't want to know where this is going to end up. I have a quick little side story for you. So we went shopping the other day, and we were in several stores, and all of a sudden the girls call me over and they're smelling this candle, and they're like, "What does this smell like?" And I get it held up to my nose, I smell it, and I'm like, well, to me it smells like toilet spray or toilet cleaner at first. And then they go, "Does it not smell like a men's cologne?" And specifically one of the girls suggested one of the guys in our class it smelled like. The worst part is that I had to agree with them. But let's just say, and I just want to preface by saying, I don't specifically smell this guy. It's just one of those things that you know when somebody just like walks past and they've just got their scent that just like wafts past. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, that's how quick little. He also made jokes that all the drinks were on me. He did say he makes bad jokes. That's not really a joke though. Bad jokes to me are like fully just making dad jokes all the time for no reason. I'm fine paying for my own, but considering he was significantly older, I'm still proving my point that I think this guy was about 40, at least, and was the one who kept asking me out. It was a bit odd he was insisting I pay for both, numerous times. I'd be getting out of there after one drink at this rate, and I'd be making sure it's a non-alcoholic drink, man. I noticed he also walked quite fast, even though he noted I wore high heels, which isn't a big deal, just unusual. Yeah, but I feel like it's like the concept of beige flags. When you've got enough beige flags, it just starts to become a red flag. Or it's like little red flags build up to a big red flag. And the fact that he, like, intentionally walked quite fast while you're in heels. Girl, I know people who can run in heels, but it ain't me. I could never. We went to a random affordable pub where they were giving out a free drink if you register on an app. That took him a few minutes, which I didn't mind at all. But he started thanking me for not getting upset and leaving as he would have done. Why would you leave your date just because they want to get a free drink by just registering on an app? Red flag number however many, I've lost count. He also made comments of him being impatient, which was worrying. If somebody's starting to say their bad traits to you on like a first date, run. Because they're only telling you the initial ones, let alone what's going to be worse. When I asked him what he does, he would say, "Let's wait for the drinks." It felt like a job interview, etc. And just wouldn't tell me, even though he asked me and I answered. Red flag number however many. This is getting a little bit concerning. But I guess middle-aged, I can't even say, depends. Middle-aged, I'm still thinking 40, 45. If he was any older, potentially could have made enough money and retired, but if he was asking if she was paying for drinks, bit of a wacky word. Oh gosh. He then proceeded with his bad jokes, making unnecessary comments of money, like when he nearly spilt his drink on me, which he said he wouldn't be able to afford dry cleaning. I'm gonna say this is like an internationally story because we don't really, dry cleaning's not particularly common here in New Zealand, but even then, it's not crazily expensive for like one item. The fact that he's also already making money comments just to me implies that he's looking for you to provide for him, and that's a little bit creepy, considering. You see, I'm all down if you want a good sugar daddy, but I wouldn't want you to be a sugar mama. Anyway, another thing was he kept calling me sexy, which I don't. That's more of a beige flag because some people do, some people don't. But if you tell him, I guess. But like potentially, if it was like kind of like a slip up or not, or the first word that happened to just pop out of your brain is once, but yeah, I wouldn't have necessarily said, yes, that's the word I would use. Let's see, keep reading, shall we? Here we go, this is more to my point. When I told him to kindly not use that word, he said he thinks I am and kept referring to me as so throughout the date. Red flag number 873, I think, at this stage. He decided we should head to another bar of his choice, which was slightly higher end. I thought he didn't have money. I thought he was complaining that he couldn't afford dry cleaning, let alone going to a bar of his choice, being slightly higher end. Oh my gosh. He kept making comments of making me pick up the tab and how expensive everything was, proceeding to ask the waiter if they serve drinks in pitchers, which I was taken aback by. Like a jug. I don't even know if I have anything to say about that. That's just... why would... I can't keep saying why would he, because the whole point is that he's a red flag and that he wouldn't, that he's doing stuff to be an ass. But I just want to know what was going through his head. Was he like, let me just try and get some free drinks out of this chick and maybe get laid tonight? Like, but did he really think that was the way about it? Like asking her to pick up your tab, talk about how impatient and how moneyless you are. Anyway, he also was just awkward and I felt really uncomfortable. So I told him I was uncomfortable and would like to leave. You go, girl. I probably would have said that probably 5 minutes into the date, but hey, you go for standing up for your boundaries when it went too far. To be fair, he reacted well, but he started getting upset about the group that sat next to me. He sat on my other side. How they were talking about us and judging us, which I did not see or hear at all. To be honest, I feel like if we were sitting there, we would be judging just a little bit, especially if we could overhear any of that conversation. I would be like just about ready to go over to her and be like, no, we're getting out of here, girlfriend, because that's not safe. There was another guy on Tinder that was asking me out for drinks that day and was my type, so I just ended up meeting up with him and had a great time. It was a learning experience to stick to my type. I would put that more than just a learning experience at this point. You put yourself through it for that learning experience. Do we have any final thoughts, team? Imagine, that could have gone wrong on so many levels though by the end. Yeah, change of location of his choice. Also thinking about us, like if we say aged 5 years for your sake, and you're not exactly going to be much taller or much bigger. Imagine a fully grown, like, middle-aged man. But yeah, they'd be able to not take you down, but, like, there's such a higher risk of getting, like, assaulted. So that could have ended pretty badly. Especially if he had a mate that wanted to be, like, in on it, so to speak. So I feel like, personally, I would have got out of there sooner, but I guess I wasn't there, so I don't know how easy the situation was to get out of. But we're glad you got free, and we're glad you learnt your lesson. And I'm hoping you're with a good guy now, because something tells me after all that you definitely deserve it. But yeah, that's our cocoa confessions this week, or raspberry milk confessions if we want. And for once, I think I've almost drunk the whole thing. Maybe this should become my new thing. But I guess that defeats the name purposes. Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope you leave a rating, a review, tell a friend, and join us again for more confessions next week. Have the best week, and we'll see you on Sunday. I hope you enjoyed your weekly dose of cocoa and confessions. If you enjoyed today's stories, make sure to tune in, same time, same place, same cocoa next week. And if you have a story of your own to share, make sure you head on over to the submission form, fill that out, and I hope to feature you soon. Toodles!